Red vs. Blue Zero is bad. Really bad. And I'm going to explain why. Before I start, I should probably address a few things. For those of you who just want to get to the review, skip here. First, why review this so long after it came out? A few reasons. While I've been rewriting the script for this video, it was officially announced that Rooster Teeth will no longer be continuing with this storyline, to the surprise and dismay of no one. So it'd be interesting to look back and see what went horribly wrong with this season. Also, I used to be a big Red vs. Blue fan a long time ago. I know a lot of people say it gets bad after season 13, and to only watch up until that point. I would go as far as to say it gets bad after season 8. I could be persuaded to say season 10 is where you should stop because I really like the ending. But whatever you do, don't go past season 10. With every new arc added to the show, it somehow got worse and worse. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse than season 16 and 17, we get 0. The storytelling of which is so bad, it probably would fail a Screenwriting 101 class. I don't know how many of you have taken a Screenwriting 101 class, but most of the scripts written are horrible. But at least you can see that they are trying to follow some sort of narrative structure, which is something that can't be afforded to RVB0. It comes across as someone who has never attempted to write any sort of fictional story. Another reason for doing this is I want to make more videos like this on YouTube. About a year ago, I tried the same thing with Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
You've got to do better, Senator.
Which is like 6 hours long, all put together. I went through the entire show a second time and took notes on everything, pausing every 3 to 4 seconds to take down notes and specific references. Then I went to write the script for it. I ended up writing 10 pages, which encompassed a half-page intro, episode 1, and half of episode 2. For my first long-form video, I bit off way more than I could chew. I might use the notes I took for a future video on the show. We'll see. So I thought it'd be better to maybe tackle something a lot shorter and easier to break down. As you'll see, this show gives me an opportunity to establish what I value in a well-written story. Anyway, with that all out of the way, the show starts off with its opening theme and credits, which is...
What RVB intro hyper than that?
Name one.
I think we're all a little biased.
I know this might come off as a bit nitpicky right off the bat, but why would you have the intro credits play to then have the opening contain the same credits? Wouldn't it be better to have the episode just start here and allow it to build the atmosphere more naturally, establish a more ominous and calm atmosphere, instead of starting out with a loud, fast-paced intro, then going to a slow, quiet scene, especially because the same credits play during? Then you have the opening credits intro start at the beginning of subsequent episodes. Again, minor, but I think it shows the overall lack of care being put into these episodes. Like they just slapped the opening intro at the beginning of the episode after they were done making it without checking how it affects the overall experience of watching the episode. A small detail, I know, but it's very telling of what's to come. We are then given weird exposition about Washington.
Major Washington! I thought he was forced to retire because of his, brain.
Heard they fixed that a long time ago using cutting-edge robotics and old kitchen appliances. He's got superpowers now.
Like super strength or hearing?
No, something more practical, like knowing seconds before a microwave is set to beep.
Why is it weird? Well, this is supposed to be a jumping on point for some people who have never watched RVB.
Just building an additional thing for people like me, or for new people, for old people, anybody, just like something new for us. Like,
you won't be scared to just,
Yes.
you can jump into Zero and you don't
exactly.
need to,
Yes.
invest a lot of
and
other
that's by
time.
design. Like we want
And
to
it
get
works,
more
yeah.
people into the RVB party,
Yes.
right?
This would have been a great way to quickly explain the character for the new audience members watching. Instead, they bring up that Wash has something weird with his
Brain.
which was a plot point from the previous Red vs. Blue story arc. Why bring this up? This information isn't relevant to anything that will happen later, so why mention it? If you're going to go out of your way to bring up information about a character, it should be to either give the audience an idea of who they are or something that will pay off later in the story. Chekhov's gun, anyone? Don't set up anything that doesn't come back later. This is basic storytelling, and it helps to make your stories more efficient if every moment is spent either establishing something or paying something off, especially if you're working in a more limited runtime.
It's just a joke.
But what was the joke? That he was fixed with kitchen equipment? Or that he can tell if a microwave is about to go off? Okay. This feels like a placeholder joke written into the script that was meant to be replaced with something else, but they forgot. Also, it's funny that the only thing that was taken seriously and had any gravity in the previous story arc is now rendered a joke. I'm not really mad about it or anything. The previous storyline was absolute garbage, but it's funny how the only dramatic weight those seasons had is now thrown out for the sake of a lame joke.
Oh snap! I'm nervous. All right, it's my time. I'm Noel Wiggins. I get to play Agent Raymond, and I do some other stuff on this show. Burn, let's do it!
Spiking the
Where you going in that picture? Like, what's the destination?
They get attacked by this blue guy, who is able to tank rocket launcher missiles.
Got him! This is fun!
Now, I won't be talking too much about the fight choreography. It's not something I know a lot about, and I'm also more interested in talking about the writing, and maybe a few technical aspects. I believe the reason this show failed to connect with more people who watched it isn't down to the fights. It failed to connect with people due to the poor character writing, world building, and overall plotting, which we will get to in time. Like this, for example.
Looking for me?
First of all, we see the knife thrown past one of the Marines' head and land on the ground. Where is she, and how did she throw this if she's nowhere in sight here? Second, she then appears, implying the knife has some teleportation ability.
Well, maybe once she throws the knife, she disappears until it lands.
Okay, but it then shows that she somehow quickly cut their guns apart. So did she do that while she was teleporting over? Meaning that she had to still be tangible when she teleported, because that knife was clearly shown going in the one direction until it lands. Or are we supposed to just chalk this up to being a style? Well, I guess you know what they say. Style should always be put over substance. It's a shame they can't coexist.
This one can teleport?
Gee, thanks for spelling it out. I had no idea what the show was trying to imply with her powers. Wait, why didn't she use that knife cutting to kill them, instead of just disarming them so she can immediately kill them after? Was this Marine's clarification of her powers really that important to have them survive those extra couple seconds? Wash comes to join the fight, but is immediately grabbed, thrown, and held at gunpoint by teleporting lady. Carolina then shows up to save Wash, letting the teleporting lady know she's there before firing by saying,
Dodge this.
which implies that she already knows that she could teleport away at a moment's notice. So why would you alert her like that? Carolina has no reason to want her alive, and has had no problem killing enemies in the past, even after the post-Project Freelancer good guy arc she went on. After some fighting, they end up in the room with the thing. The bad guy, who we later find out is named Zero, comes in and says,
Why, yes. It is Freelancer.
the way he says it implies either a history with Project Freelancer, or maybe he has some strong opinion about them that informs his character that will be later developed. Right before Carolina is about to fight all three of the baddies, we hard cut to our main characters racing each other back to base. I'm guessing this orange guy is some new recruit based on how he's saying.
Are all of you this crazy?
From what we get in this little beat is that the blue one is a bit reckless and very competitive, especially with the pink one,
It's not pink. It's like a lightish red.
who is just as competitive and maybe just as reckless. This red guy is probably more by the books, wanting to use the route on the map over the blue's plan of just crashing into a random abandoned building in the middle of nowhere. Not the strongest characterization, but I'm sure we'll be able to build off this small start. After the race, they see this guy and suddenly slam the brakes as if they weren't expecting him or the base to be there. But they knew where they were heading, right? We learned that they were meant to retrieve the rookie in return. Was this just to have the just inches away from hitting someone who is too cool to react moment? A little style over substance, if you will? Also, this whole race started because they had the simple task of picking up a rookie squad member and bringing them back to their base. Wait, why didn't the rookie just get dropped off to them? Maybe he was transferred from the squad at a nearby base, I guess? Now this is meant to be characterized as a little different from an ordinary military squad, except how have they been able to operate in the military being this stupid and reckless?
AWOL, illegal racing, damage to military property. I should have all your asses cleaning the latrines with your personal toothbrushes.
They are part of a squad that is tasked with investigating the attack on a very important thing. With the Reds and Blues, it was explained that they were purposefully picked because of how stupid they were. They weren't part of an elite squad. Season 10 was better able to characterize the freelancers as having character without being stupid and incompetent. I'm being too harsh at this point. I should let them continue the character introductions. Give them a chance to actually tell us more about... Oh, that's it?
It's in my ear. Oh.
Then take your helmet off, and if they don't have the budget to do facial animation this season, then cut the joke. It isn't that funny. Back at the base, the one with the thing, the three baddies have defeated Carolina, proving that they are quite the formidable opponents, considering Carolina's fighting skill from previous seasons, and oh no, they got the thing. They knock her out instead of just killing her for some reason, and take Wash to interrogate him about the thing.
You have from the count of 3 to tell me what I want to know.
At least I think. Unless he's talking about something else.
He knows the alien artifacts are keys to the temples that hold the ultimate power.
Shut it.
The... what?
Containing the ultimate power. That's the Chaos Emerald!
Glad he blurted that out for some reason. Seriously, the writers couldn't have found a more natural way for that to come out. So the Zero guy leaves when Wash is being interrogated. For some reason. If you want a fun way to kill yourself in Minecraft, take a shot every time I say that about an event or character choice made in the show. He shoots some Marines, goes downstairs, shoots some more Marines, is told some coordinates, presumably the thing they were asking Wash about, and leaves.
For like no reason.
Why? Was it just to have this action scene? Was it because this is what bad guys do in movies?
You came out of the meeting where you kind of got like the thumbs up to do this, and you walked over to my desk and you were like, "Hey Josh, walk with me." And we were walking down the hall and you're like, "How would you like to work on Red versus Blue meets Fast and Furious?" I was like, yes, please. Of course, let's do that now.
Yes,
can we do it
please.
now?
That's exactly what happened. When
That's
I
what
walked out of
happened.
the meeting, when I walked out of said meeting with one of the RVB people, I was
That
like,
was awesome.
I can't believe I have to say this, but when you have things happen in your story, there should be some reason behind it other than this is what other movies do. This stems from a broader problem I'll get into much later. The song played during this sequence doesn't help the cliched factor.
Let the blades fly, I'ma leave your grave wide. Got a depraved mind, yeah, keep the stakes high.
The song gives off the same vibes as Montage from South Park and Team America.
That's when you need to put yourself to the test and show us a passage of time. We're gonna need a montage.
However, with that song, it worked in both sequences because of the context and tone. They were both parodying a typical action and sports movie montage. This sequence, at least for me, wasn't trying to come across as parody. It was meant to be taken very seriously because it's establishing the threat of the main villains. This is a common thing you'll see pop up in this season. It doesn't know if it wants to be cheesy or have dramatic and emotional weight.
I feel like my motivation for like wanting to do this is a little bit more on the simplistic side because I just want to have fun.
That was my vibe, was a Saturday morning cartoon as well as like one of those like super fun popcorn movies that you can just like sit back, have a good time. You know, like if your little gaming chair has a little thing to kind of let you just drop down a little bit. I'll kind of get a little louder,
like me.
That's
but
nice.
I'll kind of come back and then I'll lock it in.
It's true. Like it's made to be super light. Like if you watch this, you watch the trailer, you watch something, and you're like, oh, that's cheesy. Yes. It probably I probably wrote cheesy in parentheses in the document.
Okay, this applies to my whole review moving forward. Saying it was meant to be
cheesy
is not a good excuse for terrible writing. It's only meant to try to deflect any valid criticism. The Suicide Squad, the James Gunn one, is a perfect example. The plot in that movie is the story equivalent of spaghetti. It's full of contrivances, plot armor, and general plot holes. However, the character writing, for the most part, is very well done, and so I'm willing to look past the nonsense plot in order to enjoy the characters. But there are two things to keep in mind here. One, all the plot holes, contrivances, and plot armor are still valid criticisms against the movie. Just because I like the movie despite its flaws doesn't mean the flaws disappear. I would never argue against someone who cites those flaws as a reason they didn't like the movie. And two, the characters are what kept me invested in the movie despite the plot issues. When trying to hone your craft as a writer, one of the most important skills to learn is being able to create and maintain characters the audience will want to watch. It's my belief that people will stick through a movie or show that has a bad plot when they are heavily invested in the characters. Obviously, we'd want to be able to write good characters and an airtight plot. However, if you were forced to choose which one would be better written over the other, I would go with characters. Characters are the people the audience is meant to experience the story through. It's our investment in their journey that draws us in. The world building is meant to house the characters, and the plot is the sequence of events that takes them through the story. TLDR, if you're going to nail anything as a writer, make it characters. Which brings us neatly back to this show. Red vs. Blue was practically built upon this theory of writing. In this episode, the characters are given very little time to actually make an impression on the audience. We get this brief scene abruptly cut in between this big introduction to the villains and threat for the season. Now, it's perfectly fine to start your story off focusing on the threat of the villains. Granted, you do it well. In theory, starting with the villains is a good way to show off the threat the protagonist is eventually going to go up against. A great hook for the audience to want to see more. My point is that this could have been a cool episode to start off with. Showing the two badasses we've known get their asses kicked by the new baddies is a great way to set the stage. Why break this up with a random cutaway to the main characters that barely establishes them? If I were plotting these episodes out, I would have had episode 1 be the villain intro, establishing their threat level, then episode 2 would be entirely dedicated to fully introducing our main characters, running through a typical day with them. Establishing who they are, how they interact with each other, how they interact with their superiors, how they interact with others in general. The differences between the interactions could show us a bit more about them. I'm getting ahead of myself because that's what they try to do in episode 2. Try. We start the episode with Carolina waking up in a hospital, in her armor, with a cast over her armor. I'm sorry, right off the fucking bat, there's a problem. The season doesn't even try to match itself with previous seasons. And to be fair, this season isn't the only one guilty of it. When I see this image, I have to divorce myself from the reality that I also saw season 10, and the ability to show characters outside their armor. I get this show might not have the budget behind it that season 10 got, but then don't have her in a goddamn cast over her armor. So the rest of the team shows up and begins talking to Carolina about the attack. The orange guy that isn't Griff disrupts them to look for a place to charge his phone. Ugh. Why the fuck would you need a smartphone when your helmet is basically one? Also, why do cell phones look the same 500 years in the future as they do now?
Cheesy.
Oh well. At least this is only some dumb internet show, and a real, professionally made Halo series wouldn't be stupid enough to have modern day technology and equipment.
I have the cable, but I don't have that end thingy. The butt. Well, what do you guys call it? I call it a butt.
He doesn't know what an outlet adapter is? Keep this in mind for later.
Hey, you're a butt.
Here's the gun. What? Here's the doctor's note. Just fucking do it. It's time.
What do you suggest we do?
Let's see what I'm working with.
Again, this comes across as parody. Is this supposed to be parody? You know it's not a good sign either way if you're asking that question. We are then literally given voiceover exposition on each of the characters.
For like no reason.
Remember my earlier suggestion about how to establish the characters? Show, don't tell? This is like if in episode 2 or 3 of the first season of Red vs. Blue, when Caboose and Donut are introduced, someone explained who everyone on the teams are like, this is Sarge, the tough old man sergeant who hates Griff. This is Griff. He is lazy and is fat because he likes to eat. This is Simmons. He is very book smart but not street smart and has very bad social skills. This is Lopez. He does not speak until he speaks Spanish and no one can understand him because they do not speak Spanish. This is Church. He gets very angry very easily and likes to yell a lot. This is Tucker. He likes hitting on women and talks and thinks about sex all the time. This is Sheila. She is a tank. We were able to pick up on who they were based on their interactions with each other.
What are they doing now? God damn, I'm getting so sick of answering that question. You have a fucking rifle. I can't see shit. Don't bitch at me because I'm not going to just sit up here and play with my dick.
It was literally the whole appeal of the show.
There's no I in team, Griff. Yeah, there's no you either. So I guess if I'm not on the team and you're not on the team, nobody's on the goddamn team. The team sucks.
I've never had a girl in my life.
Yeah, I noticed. Try harder.
You idiots. Let me show you how it's done. No.
Nice demonstration, Sarge.
Shut up. Simmons, what are you waiting for?
They look the same. Which one do I shoot?
Ow! Shoot the one who's winning, dumbass!
I just wish that Griff was dead.
I hate you.
Put a bullet
through his head. What? Simmons, how do you know that song? Oh, it's been in my dreams for years. Now it all makes sense. Oh, thank God. What? I thought I was crazy when I woke up with that rifle in my hands.
Well, ain't that the power of music?
Simmons, why didn't you tell me about this? Oh, shut up. It wasn't even loaded.
Meanwhile. And now it's time to give out the award for the least funny people in the world. And the nominees are...
You better believe it.
What?
Oh, huh? I thought you said something else. These walls are thick. It's hard to hear through them. Just come with me.
Danielle, let me see what you have.
A knife!
No!
Oh, my phone's juicing up. It's at 25%. If I could just get it to 30, we can head out.
Looks like 30% to me. Gear up.
Let's check it out. Is what you say when you want to die in a scary movie. We dying today. And I booked an escape room this weekend. They're gonna be so mad I didn't call and cancel. Okay. You'll like this one. Did you hear about the fire at the circus?
There was a fire?
It was intense.
I love Joe!
Wait. You're not telling me we're supposed to fight this guy? He's in like super mode. We don't have a Hulk. Look how jacked he is. I'm behind on my CrossFit. I'm stress eating. I'm not in the right headspace for this.
Sickest feature ever. Nanotech still camouflage mode.
Now we're talking.
That lets you change colors to match your outfit. Like, shut up. That's all it does? Excuse you. You can broadcast your current emotional state like a mood ring. And change colors to the beat of your favorite EDM track so you can lose yourself in the music like I did at Andromeda Beach last summer. And, oh my God, hide. There, I said it. You can hide. Ew, like who invited you?
No one invites me. I invite me.
And the winner is...
Everyone involved in the creation of Red vs. Blue Zero.
There's a little bit of bias in the room. I think we're all a little biased.
Cheesy.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. So we first get introduced to Axial, or Axel? This guy. He's the
Golden Boy and weapons expert.
This guy is West, the leader of the squad. He is apparently like a father figure while being the Pink One's actual father.
A bit on the nose, if you ask me.
What the fuck was this interaction? This is East, West's daughter.
She's a rebellious, competitive punk with a nifty little power that gives her super speed and incredibly high mark.
The show does actually explain this later. Next up is One, who is
headstrong and impulsive. She could be the next leader of Shatter Squad, if she can learn to work on a team.
Keep this character detail in mind for later. Last up is Raymond.
Tech guy would be an understatement.
So the super brilliant
tech guy
didn't know what an outlet adapter was? Told you I'd bring that back. Also, this team is called Shatter Squad. After that giant character exposition dump, West takes Raymond to go investigate the base that was attacked that had the thing, which is something you think they would have done first while Carolina was recovering in the hospital, before any trails went cold. Axel and East go to repair their Warthog, the one they broke while racing, which is now costing the military additional money and resources to repair. Again, this isn't supposed to be like a Reds and Blues situation. These people are part of an actual military squad. One of the cool things about contrasting the Reds and Blues with the Freelancers was seeing how the Freelancers operated more like a highly trained unit of soldiers.
Okay, I'll take the lead. Give me 15 seconds and follow. Sync?
Sync.
Sure, there were some moments of levity, but it never took away from us believing them as elite agents. Anyway, I guess we get a character tidbit about Axel and his love of lawn mowers.
Tags and go back to my first true love.
Ew, gross.
10,000 RPM, 1600 cc, turbocharge. The Millennium Falcon 3000. Get in my way and that'll be your grass.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more!
They then head over to train. Yeah, I'm skipping most of the tiny scenes. I can only take a certain amount of cringe. Also, get it? Her name is Tiny. And she isn't tiny. We meet up with One and Carolina right before they get there, establishing that One is trying to be the lone wolf of the group, thinking she can do it all on her own. Remember that. So the three of them start training as a group, shooting and dodging turret fire and fighting crash test dummies. After Axel joins Carolina in observing the practice fighting. Wait, why are their movements so stiff all of a sudden? Are they trying to recreate the machinima head bobbing? Oh, for fuck's sake. Why is this a thing in the show?
Well, it's trying to recreate the machinima style of the other seasons.
Why didn't they just do what every season with animation did? Only use the animation in certain situations, like combat or specific jokes. Why make the whole season custom animated? Goddamn, every aspect of the show is so weird, inconsistent, and doesn't make any sense. We catch back up with Zero and the others. They place what I can assume is the thing onto another thing. Then it glows these other things, and they stand on the glowing things that the thing caused to glow by being placed on the other thing. You get all that?
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about the things? The things?
It then opens a door to reveal, aliens? You know, one of the cool things about past seasons of RVB was the creative ways they would incorporate in-game items into the story and recontextualize what they do and how they function. Not really an in-universe complaint, just a meta one. Something that used to be cool about the series, now taken away by people who clearly don't understand it.
It doesn't look like any RVB that's come before it. It doesn't look like anything that we've done before at Rooster Teeth. Super exciting, for sure.
I can't believe I'm actually going to praise the previous story arc, but even they understood this with the time travel portal guns. Just before the action happens, we go to Raymond and West at the base. Now, any writer worth anything would at least be able to make something entertaining, if not funny, out of the interaction between these two. Despite not really knowing much about their characters, just their personalities should clash in a way that would be fun to write. The gruff older leader juxtaposed with the young tech quippy character, but no, this show still manages to fuck that up and make it unbearable to watch.
Just make it happen, kid.
What was that, soldier?
I'm in. I've always wanted to say that.
Raymond then asks how a father and a daughter would end up on the same team.
With all due respect, sir, why would an officer end up on the same squad as his daughter?
West then exposition dumps while we look at a flashy fight scene. Don't mind us dumping this exposition. Look, a fight.
She was dying, and I didn't know what to do.
Of what? AIDS? McGregor syndrome? Convenient sympathy disease?
It's his time. It's running out.
The Alliance of Defense said they could save her.
You gave her up?
I like how Raymond says this like West is a bad person for wanting to put his daughter through something that could save her life. I'm sure most parents would do this in a heartbeat when the other option is letting their child die.
I did what any father would do.
Exactly. Axel is then passed the exposition baton.
A family torn in opposite directions. East and west.
What? That's why they're called that? They both agreed to call each other a direction? because they were torn apart. Oh, this fucking show.
A bit on the nose, if you ask me.
You know, Carolina had similar father issues. Wonder if she'll use that history to possibly connect in some way to East, find some common ground, and start to understand each other. Now that would be some interesting writing. You'd think that would have been the obvious thing to do, if you were good at your job. Axel explains that this electrical thing that is happening to East is a side effect of the experiments done to her. Wait, I thought that was her suit though. This is different to the speed thing? Wait, what kinds of experiments were done to her that would cause this side effect? It would be really nice if the writers were able to be more specific instead of just some nebulous disease treated with vague experiments. I mean, they seem to have no problem just dumping lots of character exposition. You think maybe they could use some of that time to tell us what exactly was done to East. Maybe it'll be explained later. And if that's the case, I'm sure it'll be completely fleshed out and make a whole lot of sense.
Nope.
We then get some exposition.
Following her mother's footsteps, I suppose.
About her being from a family of elite soldiers or something. We then get some cliche dialogue about the enemy.
Who are we up against here?
I don't know, Axel. Something's not right.
What were they after?
AOD classified, so I don't know the details.
Now the asset and your friend Washington are missing.
And I don't believe in coincidences. I'm getting my friend back, Axel.
Remind everyone of what's going on.
What about AOD? Can't you just ask for backup?
They'll sweep this under the rug like it never existed.
Why would they do that? It seemed like a pretty high-valued object, considering they got 2 elite soldiers to guard it.
What we thought was a medium-risk asset.
Okay, but surely the people who hired you knew how valuable it was, considering they got 2 highly trained agents to guard it. If we are to believe that they'll just
sweep this under the rug
and not give you backup, I feel like there might be a group of soldiers you could maybe enlist the help of. People that might have a vested interest in Wash's safety.
You have us now.
Oh, good. Wait, weren't they sent by the military? Or is that different from the AOD? Man, remember when RVB, even in the Course trilogy, cared about the world building and making sure we understood all the factions and their relations with one another?
This is how it's done, Grandma.
Red versus Blue meets Fast and Furious.
Cheesy.
After Zero and the bad black and purple lady are done fighting the things, this big guy comes with 2 fire swords to fight them.
Step forth, mortal. The power for which you sought will summon the harbinger of destruction and rot.
I am no mere mortal, Guardian. Underestimate me and you'll learn I'm something more. A ghost.
The fuck does that mean? Oh boy, some more flashy fight scenes with no tension. Hooray. I don't know who the villains are as people. Hell, I don't really know much about the heroes apart from the surface level exposition about them. I don't know what they want, what happens if they win or lose. I don't even know what they're fighting. It sucks because I'm sure the fight animators put time and effort into the sequence, but the writing fails it by not making me invested in what's happening, stemming mostly from a lack of investment and understanding of the characters involved. Plus, I have no fucking idea what's actually going on. We've already gone over why character writing is so important, so let's take a slight detour and focus on the importance of world building. World building is basically providing your viewers with the rules of the world. If you're a show like Breaking Bad or Sopranos, world building isn't going to be too hard compared to more fantastical genres. They take place in our real world. The shows operate with our normal understanding of how reality works. Gunshot wounds should have a lasting effect, not something to be shaken off in the next episode. The only world building concerns these 2 specific shows have is establishing their criminal organizations, how they function, who runs them. Sci-fi and fantasy shows and movies are going to have to establish a lot more about their world building through the narrative than ones that take place in our world. They need to establish the status quo, what the rules are when it comes to the magic or sci-fi tech used.
The sword is a key? Just when I thought this couldn't get any lamer.
what the civilization in the world is like, etc. This is so that we can feel immersed in the world and be able to understand and care about the things going on in it and how they might affect the characters. It's understandable that in a sci-fi or fantasy show, it might take a few episodes or an entire season to establish the world naturally. Unless you start your show off with a long exposition dump at the beginning, it'll take some time to explore the world through the characters interacting with it naturally. However, when the story is complete, we should be able to go back to earlier episodes to find that they should still hold up given what was established later. In terms of sequels or additional seasons, world building should be a bit different. In some ways, it can be easier now that you have established rules in a world in which you can focus on plotting character and theme. In other ways, it can be harder if you want to build off the already established rules. You might want to dive deeper into certain aspects of the world that you've previously established or inherited, but you also run the risk of either ruining it or outright contradicting what came before. As a writer, you need to be very careful with additional world building. I know there's quite a bit of sentiment on the internet. If you complain about world building being inconsistent, you're just nitpicking.
This is a film about space wizards intended for children.
But the world building is what immerses us in the world with the characters we're following. In horror movies, it's the reason we feel tension and fear. Bringing it back to Red vs. Blue Zero, it's yet another reason why I, and so many others, can't connect to the show. I know the creator of the show just wants us to turn our brains off and enjoy. Cheesy. But it's our brains being on that connects us to the entertainment we watch. Not having an understanding of what the AOD is and how they relate to the UNSC established in other seasons of Red vs. Blue makes it hard to feel immersed in the show. Not knowing what the hell the things Zero and his team are getting, what they're after, and what the ultimate power even is. The ultimate power disconnects us from what he's doing because we don't know what him achieving these things means for the story. Especially because the show has previously established alien lore. The season does tie back into Tucker's sword, but how is this new alien tech related to the already established ones? Why did the AOD have the thing that Zero needed to open the door thing? Did the AOD know about that and were they planning on using it for that purpose? Or did it serve another function and they were unaware of what it actually does? You know what? Let's go even broader. Where are the Reds and Blues right now? Why aren't Wash and Carolina with them anymore?
Like it's made to be super light. Like if you watch this, you watch the trailer, you watch something, and you're like, oh, that's cheesy. Yes.
It ain't easy being cheesy.
Fine, I won't be invested in your show. I'm sorry I tried. Anyway, they continue to fight this boss, hitting it in its weak spot, while Carolina fights one in East while a cringy song plays.
I got this.
Wait!
Wait, I thought you were
Headstrong, impulsive. If she can learn to work on a team.
Oh well, I'm sure I'm just looking too much into this one little moment. Maybe she wanted to strike first, and East just stole her chance. I'm sure the show isn't that incompetent that it could fuck up the one bit of shallow character it gave her.
You serious?
They finally beat the boss and get its weapons that give Zero an XP boost. How much more power does he have? What does this even mean?
Stop asking questions, old man.
Carolina beats one in East. Then one in East argue a
Just like Newfield. Get over yourself, East.
No.
If I haven't mentioned it already, the voice acting is on the spectrum of terrible to passable. One and this villain lady have probably the most awkward performances of anyone else.
You die today, old man.
I wonder what the thought process was when casting.
This is my first VO thing, so I was like, I don't know, there's probably better people there, so.
Interesting enough, that's sort of by design though, right? The last thing that was in the back of my head when picking people was like, if they've done this before. I didn't care.
Oh, that's good to know.
Stay away from me, Girl Scout.
Girl Scout? I thought she needed to learn how to work as a team.
She could be the next leader of Shatter Squad if she can learn to work on a team.
She was
headstrong.
You know, that trait scouts typically have. This fight, like the physical ones, holds no weight because we don't really know them as characters and their relationship to each other outside of this interaction. They make vague references to their past,
Just like Newfield. Get over yourself, East.
but it comes across more like when Obi-Wan and Anakin talk about
That nest of gun dogs.
instead of seeing their relationship on screen, we are vaguely told about it. They then storm off and East starts. At least this does have a payoff, though it's not a very good one. Then suddenly,
Must be Major Washington.
oh, Wash is just there, walking around? Huh, interesting. I thought you guys just came here to see if you could find some intel. And Wash is just there? You'd think the team that got Carolina out of there would have found Wash, unless...
It's a trap! Rookie, out of the way!
You'd think this guy would have planned out a better trap than that. He gave it away long before he would be able to spring it. I guess his character's supposed to be retarded, maybe?
West, he's breathing!
Wait, was he not breathing when you were scanning him earlier? West and the big blue guy lock arms. For some reason. Why is West glowing? Does he also have superpowers like East?
Nice work, Rookie.
So we fighting monsters now?
Now sit down and don't open your mouth again.
Let's get Major Washington out of here.
We then cut back to the bad guys in their bad guy base talking about getting another thing. Man, isn't it great that we have no idea what anything is and why we should care? Zero asks the black purple lady about
the Echo,
and some overlapping dialogue meant to hide certain pieces of information that will be revealed later.
It should be fine for a couple of days.
and your father.
He is not my...
The strong stay focused.
But it comes across as so stilted. I'm sure there was supposed to be an overlap when she says,
He is not my...
instead of an awkward pause.
He is not my...
The strong stay focused.
He is not
the
my...
strong stay focused.
Sorry, it's a little pet peeve when shows or movies do overlapping dialogue, where the character's last syllable is fully finished, then a second passes, then the other person speaks, as opposed to actually cutting the person off.
He is not my...
The strong stay focused.
He is not
the
my...
strong stay focused.
Okay, let's move on. We then see East at a shooting range, repeating dialogue from the previous scene.
Wasn't for your power, you wouldn't even be here.
I know they made the show to turn your brain off, but come on. Give your audience enough credit to be able to remember dialogue said within the same 15-minute episode. Then Carolina sneaks up on her instead of just calling her name from a safe distance. Carolina apologizes to her.
I'm sorry for earlier. I just want to take these guys down, and I was just trying to help.
For some reason, East meets up with West in the hallway. Why with the machinima head bobbing poses? Why wasn't it implemented in the scene with the bad guys? It's not like their body acting contributed much to the scene. Why is this only implemented in the most random places?
Me? I'm not like the others. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my boss, and you're not my dad. Wow, what a bitch!
So apparently Tiny built this shitty car.
See you next Tuesday.
Wait, did Tiny just call her a cunt? Or am I reading too much into that? RVB can use cunt, right?
Excuse me? Somebody needs to be called a cunt. Yeah, you dumb cunt!
They've used it before. Or is that a word you can't say anymore? It's hard keeping up with all that.
In short, if there's no more room in the dishwasher, then it's time to run the cycle. Don't just shove your stuff in there and walk away.
Secondly, Major Washington was recovered at the base.
You'd think they would have led with this instead of the dishwasher bit. I guess it might be the joke that they would prioritize that over the news about Wash, but it doesn't make any sense here. Like I've said before, these are supposed to be real military soldiers. A joke like this would work with the Reds and Blues. Imagine if the director assembled the freelancers about leaving too many dirty dishes in the sink. Carolina hears Wash is here and okay. West assures her that they will stop at nothing to get the people responsible. Carolina is ready to
suit up,
despite already being in her armor. But West tells her to stand down.
Stand down, Carolina. We'll take care of this one without you.
For some reason.
Like hell you will.
I'm not asking, Agent. That's an order.
Citing that she is injured and therefore a risk?
You're still recovering, which means you're a risk. A risk I'm not willing to take when my team's on the line.
Okay. She just beat up 2 of your agents that are presumably qualified to go out. I think she's ready. Also, why is she taking orders from you? Shouldn't she outrank you? Or wait, she was part of Project Freelancer, not the UNSC. Did she join the UNSC? Whatever, we've already been over the broken world building. Let's just move on.
We were able to gather a lot of good intel at Falcon Base. Viper intends to steal another key located at Starlight Labs in the city sector.
What kind of intel did they get? Didn't he just hack the main computer or whatever and pull up logs and helmet cams? Why would Zero's next target be in the logs? Was there info on the thing and its purpose of opening the door thing? But even if it did, why would that help them figure out his next target? The thing served its use to unlock the door thing and fight the alien monster thing. So whatever thing he's after now would be different from the purpose of the original thing.
The things?
The only way this makes sense is if he put where his next target after defeating the monster thing into the base's logs. After the meeting, one calls the help desk at Starlight, the place Zero said he was going to break into, and warns them that they're about to be attacked.
You're about to get attacked! Initiate your lockdown protocol now!
I'm sorry. What?
Why did they wait this long to warn Starlight that they were going to be attacked? As soon as Raymond found this out and was somewhere with communication, they should have told them to expect attackers, because calling them this late doesn't give them enough time to...
Zero, we have the key.
Yeah, they just broke in and took it, I guess.
Hey, check it out!
And I guess Shatter Squad was close enough to see them leaving. Cool.
That was my vibe, was a Saturday morning cartoon, as well as like one of those like super fun popcorn movies that you could just like sit back, have a good time.
TV. Check it out! Camouflage mode is like a mood ring! Go Gadget Raven mode!
The black and purple lady recaps Zero on what happened, because I guess he was too busy standing on this specific roof with a Spartan laser that fires rockets to take part in the attack, because I guess he knew that Shatter Squad would be close enough to their vehicle around this area for him to fire his weapon at them. It's only episode 3. Axel has Zero's position and runs to it. Was he dropped off? Or did he happen to run by the building Zero was at?
Stop asking questions, old man!
Once they see each other, we launch into a flashback of Axel chasing Zero. Zero has a chance to kill Axel but doesn't. Huh. Maybe we can get some potentially interesting character stuff between the two that gets fleshed out beyond these flashbacks and their exchanges in the present day, right? Right? I mean, come on. This scene could be good.
Axe, you don't belong here. Come with me. Together we can change it all. We can fight the true monsters.
I'm not a traitor.
No, you're a coward.
If the rest of the show can support it and explore it deeper.
You serious?
What the hell was that?
We start with One and East yelling at each other.
Oh, please, your majesty.
Then it just cuts back to 9 hours before where we left off in the last episode? Okay. Episode 4, this episode, uses a non-linear storytelling method.
For like, no reason.
This whole episode jumps around in time between them yelling at each other here and chasing the bad guys. Why? This episode is only 10 minutes. In good stories, non-linear storytelling could be used to good effect. In this episode, it doesn't seem to serve any real narrative purpose. It feels like in the editing they were like, hey, why don't we just re-edit this into a jumbled mess for the fun of it and cut it back to normal later? But they forgot to fix it before Rooster Teeth published it. After some fighting I really don't care about, East gets knocked off and activates her speedrunning ability she got from that one experiment thing that happened to her. Come to think of it, shouldn't she have been the one to chase down Zero? Because they have to slow down for East to catch up, the bad guys are able to escape, even though it would probably be easy to find a giant tank truck driving in a civilian city. Wait a minute, where is this place? This is clearly a city. And before you go,
well, they didn't have the budget to animate a city's worth of background characters.
To which my response is, then why the hell would you set the chase in a place you know you don't have the budget or resources to make look good? That was the whole charm of Red vs. Blue, making do with what they had, finding creative ways of telling funny and entertaining stories with minimal resources. Well, at least at the beginning. We cut back to the present, and there's still more arguing,
Quit, huh? Yo, cool it, East. Oh, try me.
weird body acting, and terrible voice delivery.
I do. I did.
Pulling us off the mission? You can't do that. I did a lot better towards the end, and I feel like
Yeah.
that just goes into the fact practice makes perfect.
I would say,
You know,
Fiona, you
never
did
give up.
amazing the whole time.
But I think we're all a little biased.
The last thing that was in the back of my head when picking people was like, if they've done this before.
East figures out Axel and Zero have a history, and the rest of the team gets mad at him.
Axe, I trusted you. I trusted you.
I trusted you.
For some reason. I don't know why that's bad. Are they mad he never told them about Zero? Why would he? We then jump to Axel and Zero fighting on rooftops. Hey, what do you think the people in these buildings are thinking? And then we immediately jump forward. What the fuck is the point? Especially because this scene doesn't have any substance to it.
They're getting closer.
Soon, it will all have been worth it. You should retrieve it soon.
You killed him.
We haven't seen the last of him.
I told you, he's mine.
And thus ends another meeting of the Pronoun Club. Same time next week, everybody.
They're getting away!
We'll never catch up.
Oh, I guess they didn't lose them. Then why was East complaining that Raymond and One slowed down?
I told you not to slow down.
Ah, fuck it. West comes out of nowhere and does a ground pound armor lock that flips the bad guy tank truck.
You see that, rookie? What did I tell you?
Did he kill him? No, because Axel said in the flash forward that West was recovering.
You're pulling us off the mission? You can't do that.
Just until West recovers.
Is he knocked out? How the fuck did Zero knock him out? He's in his armor, especially in the back.
West!
Everyone gets mad and fires their weapons at Zero. In only a straight line. Guys, there's all these other spots you can fire too, you know.
Hold on. Stay together.
That's our one. Always so
Headstrong.
and
If she can learn to work on a team.
so they get their asses handed to them by Zero for a while. Man, I'm so invested in these characters and whether or not they survive.
You're going down. What?
Hello, One. I'm Zero.
That line would be cooler if we knew the origin behind why they're called that, and if they were interesting characters, and the show was better written.
Can you say the same?
Holy shit, are all those people in that building dead? You see, I'm not sure if this is just shitty animation not accounting for people, or this is supposed to be an abandoned city. That's why world building is important, kids, so people can actually understand what the fuck is happening on screen.
Just one more key, and ultimate power is within my reach.
Good thing you said that out loud so we know what your future plans are. Instead of killing these people who are tasked with stopping him, I think, Zero instead threatens them and takes off.
No reason.
Hey, One.
Hey.
Oh, hi, Carolina. Man, if only we had an extra fighter on our team. Oh well. It's good you stayed behind, Carolina.
We need you here.
You are too much of a risk to our squad. Carolina tells One to take a walk with her out of this stilted machinima scene to a scene where they can freely body act, just so they can walk back into a stilted machinima pose. This will never stop being fucking weird when they choose to do this. Carolina then exposits info about Wash.
He could have retired like the others.
Why didn't he? He seemed to be perfectly fine with the idea in the past, especially after his physical injury last season. One tells Carolina that Zero said he needed one more glowy key sword. Carolina starts to panic, as well as every RVB fan, because you know what that means.
We have to save Lavernius Tucker.
I know what that is!
Lavernius Tucker.
Who?
Hey, a clever joke, kinda. Good job, show. That made me slightly chuckle. Kind of. It was something at least.
Yeah, that's better. Have you ever saved the universe? Show of hands. Who here has saved the universe?
You never saved the universe. Did the writers mix him up with the actual Master Chief from Halo? He helped fight the director and save a planet. I guess they're counting the previous story arc, but he was responsible for the fabric of the universe being destroyed in the first place. So I don't really think that counts. I could buy Tucker, even after all the development he's gone throughout the seasons, bragging about being awesome, even if he's bragging about false accomplishments. But my biggest question is, why is he even here? At some random base? I thought Carolina said him and the others retired.
Stop asking questions, old man.
So after some cringy attempts at comedy...
I'm your instructor today, and I know things. Things you could all learn. So learn them.
Carolina and Shatter Squad just show up out of nowhere and warn Tucker he's in danger.
Tucker! Viper is coming. They want your sword.
Again, why the fuck don't you call ahead? You think they would have learned after what happened with the Starlight Labs break-in. I guess not. I wouldn't be surprised if they all ran here from their base instead of taking a Warthog.
Who's Viper?
I wish I could tell you, Tucker, but after watching half the season already, I probably have just as much of an understanding of what they are as you. Oh no. Viper attacks again. Oh yeah, by the way, Viper is the group of bad guys. Man, if only you guys called ahead so Tucker could escape with plenty of time. For some reason in the future, we actually devolved our communication technology. Zero comes in with an army of fire things? Seriously, what the fuck are those things? Did the sword give Zero control of them? Are they mind controlled? Or do they have their own agency? Oh yeah, that's right. I don't even understand the villain's motivation and character. Same with our heroes. Why the fuck would I expect them to have an answer for that? I bet you they don't even know, and we're just like, and Zero arrives with a fire army thing. What are they? Come to think of it, I'm sure that's how most of the writing sessions went this season. Carolina tasked One, East, and Raymond with getting Tucker out of there.
Get Tucker out of here now. All other objectives are secondary. Axel and I will take care of Zero.
Which wouldn't have been a concern if you guys had fucking called beforehand. And Tucker is weirdly silent throughout this exchange. You'd think Tucker would have some wisecracking thing to say, instead of just being told what to do and immediately obeying it without saying anything. Just weird is all.
We can do this. We've got your back.
They run away and hide by a spot pretty out in the open, and somehow none of the fire monster things see them or attack, even though Tucker is their target. In trying to get away, they get involved in the main action.
Just like Newfield. Got it.
And that was such an Arc 1 win on. From
headstrong and impulsive,
and
learn to work on a team.
To coordinating with East.
Just like Newfield. Got it.
What an arc it's been. Wait, hey, where's Tucker this whole fight? They couldn't at least show him fighting some fire monster things? He was the most capable of the Reds and Blues. He could probably hold his own against them.
And you, Tucker, much as I hate to admit it, you're actually good at being a soldier.
Oh, there he is. Shatter Squad and Tucker take off, and a Warthog and Black Purple Lady goes after them. Meanwhile, Carolina and Axe square off with Zero.
More to that story?
Story time is over!
Please put this story out of its misery. But seriously, I would be interested in the backstory between Axel and Zero. It seems a little interesting. Better than what we're getting here.
Axel, we gotta work together!
Wait, that's One's arc. Unless the writers mixed the two characters up. It's actually easier than you think. If you need more evidence that the characters suck and can be interchanged with each other, look at the end bumpers for the YouTube uploads of these episodes. With other seasons of Red vs. Blue, each character would say something unique to their character, because they had distinct voices.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel before you go. It'll be just like we're friends. Not that I need friends. Please don't go.
I'm here to talk to you about subscribing to our channel! Hey, done. So, you want to do something with your life, or you just want to sit around on your ass all day like a loser? Yeah, me too. So, just subscribe and keep watching YouTube. It's way easier.
With these characters, they didn't even bother.
Thanks for checking out that episode of Red vs. Blue. If you're looking for more RVB, you can find it in the playlist below. Or you can go to the app and get it 24 hours early by becoming a first member. Remember, watching our content wherever is convenient for you supports us in making more great animated shows. It's the same as when you like, sub, and mash that bell.
Black and Purple Lady is on their tail, so one goes after her.
Scratch that. This mongoose is hungry, and it's craving a steak.
That's actually a cool line.
Bitch, are you for real?
After some fighting, they make it to a base with an aircraft that is abandoned. For some reason. Tucker and East get on the craft while Raymond is knocked out and one fights the Black Purple Lady. They think they're totally safe, despite not taking off yet, when East starts glitching like crazy when... Don't worry, Red vs. Blue fans that were lucky enough not to watch this season. He's not dead. I think this is supposed to be a, oh my god, why would East do that? But I know so little about her, and she's been such a bitch throughout the whole season so far.
If I remember correctly, I was much more of a burden to you than anything else.
That's not fair.
I'm not like the others. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my boss, and you're not my dad.
Then it turns out that East was really the Black Purple Lady the whole time.
There's no way. No one has ever successfully created a hollow echo.
Christ, you guys, you haven't even properly explained the stuff you've already established. Now you're introducing even more, and a big plot twist hinges on it? Oh boy. We've gone over how great these writers are at giving proper explanations to things.
A bit more on the simplistic side because I just want to have fun. I didn't care. Cheesy.
It's Tucker. He's dead.
No, he's not. Nice try, fuckers. They seriously brought Tucker back to drum up interest in this shitty season by not only having him barely appear in it, but also leaving his death as a cliffhanger. There's only one thought that crosses my mind. At the bad guy headquarters,
The last key. The ultimate power finally be mine.
Black Purple Lady, who is now Pink Yellow Lady, remarks about how it feels good to be whole again. Wait, so was East always fake to infiltrate Shatter Squad? Because Zero always knew they would be the ones tasked with stopping him? Has she been separated since the accident? What was stopping her from becoming whole again? Why didn't she become whole when they were fighting last episode? Oh fuck it, whatever. The episode's almost done. I'm sure there's not much to discuss, other than the fact that Zero doesn't even know what the ultimate power is.
You don't know what the ultimate power is, do you?
I only acknowledge those more powerful than me, so I answer to no one.
Bitch, are you for real?
It feels like the show has no structure to it.
Oh, shoot.
Just this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, until it ends. Characters just say and do things.
Just cuz.
Or in Tucker's case, don't say or do anything. Things just happen for the sake of it. Plot be damned. You know, this is a perfect segue into talking about the plotting in general and how this show sucks at it. I know, it's shocking that this season gets a fundamental writing core wrong.
Shall I fan you gently so you don't go into shock?
Plotting is very simple. It means to secretly make plans to carry out an illegal or harmful action. Well, actually, the more I think about it, the season does fit that definition pretty well, but it's probably this one. A devised sequence of events in a play, novel, movie, or similar work. Now, RVB Zero does have plot points that were probably devised beforehand to make a sequence. However, much in the same way you don't get points for putting your name on the test, just because RVB Zero has a sequence of events doesn't mean it was well executed. There are various methods writers use when plotting out their narratives. Now, I know there are some writers who don't plan out anything and just come up with characters in a world and start writing from there. These writers are galaxy brains compared to us. They just start writing without a narrative structure to guide them. Now, I know in their cases, it always comes out as completed masterpieces that never write themselves into corners, but for the rest of us plebs, it's best to plan out at least in broad beats to have a good sense of where your story is headed. You can look up the various ways to outline, but the two biggest are the hero's journey and the 3-act structure. I personally like using the 3-act structure as a frame to house the plot points of the hero's journey. When I write, I have 3 different phases of outlining. The first phase is the broad strokes pass. This is literally just figuring out the big plot points of the 3-act structure. Then I figure out the plot beats that happen in between. This part is important because this is where you're going to want to keep the idea of cause and effect in mind. It's important for the plot beats in your story to lead into each other. And then versus therefore or but.
We can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words and then belong between those beats, you're
A common device used is setup and payoff, that idea I brought up earlier.
What should happen between every beat that you've written down is either the word therefore or but, right? So what I'm saying is that you come up with an idea and it's like, okay, this happens, right? And then this happens. No, it should be this happens and therefore this happens. But this happens, therefore this happens. We'll have our beats and we'll say, okay, this happened, but then this happens, and that affects this, and that does to that, and that's why you get a show that feels like, okay, this to that, to this to that, but this, here's the complication, to that.
Tying this back to Red vs. Blue Zero, the story feels like and then plotting.
This happened, and then this happens, and then this happens. That's when you're in a movie just going, what the f am I watching this movie for? Just like, this happened, and then this happened, and this happened. That's not a movie, you know, that's not a story. Like Trey said, it's those two, but, because, therefore, that gives you the causation between each beat, and that makes that's a story.
It just feels like a bunch of things happening, loosely tied together by the overall thread of bad guy wants a bad thing and main characters need to stop him. There's nothing deeper, nothing more substantial to be invested in.
I just want to have fun. Cheesy.
And to be clear, I wasn't going into this season with the expectation of being gripped by a plot on the same level of Breaking Bad or Sopranos. I was going in with the bar of the previous seasons of the show, which is something that shouldn't be unreasonable to expect, especially because every season since season 10 has slowly lowered the bar so far down. I was expecting this season to at least be better than the bullshit time travel seasons. That's all it had to be, but no. Somehow the writing in this season is so much worse.
I just want to have fun. I didn't care.
You've got to do better.
It's a dangerous procedure. There's no guarantee.
We start out with flashback dialogue over black from a doctor, West, a child, East, Axel, and Zero, hinting at possible interesting backstory.
Don't struggle. Bruce, you can't do this.
Stop it!
However, the voices start to fade away, like the seconds of interesting story we were getting, to see Tucker. Interesting to have that flashback dialogue play when Tucker wakes up and not West, when he too was knocked out and in recovery. Now, I hate to come off as a nitpicking asshole here, clearly. The quick repeat cutting is a little off here. It's used typically with big explosions in action movies and tend to be cut within a second of each other, so we understand the same action didn't actually happen twice. Here they hang on Tucker first shooting up for a couple seconds too long before cutting to the next angle of him doing the same thing. A little editing thing, not a big deal, but something aspiring editors should be aware of. Unless the first time Tucker shot up was a nightmare he was having where Carolina wasn't next to him when he woke up. Then he actually woke up to see she was actually there. We learned that both Tucker and Wash are fine.
These people have some amazing medical tech.
So much so that they can operate on you without taking your armor off. Unless they took the armor off, treated them, then put the armor back on. For some reason.
What? Ah, crap! Those bastards! They took my sword!
Tucker realizes his sword is missing and starts freaking out.
You don't get it, because you never had one. I'm half a man now.
And they instantly turn it into a dick joke, I guess.
Wow. I have missed you. What? It's not a joke, dude?
This is Red vs. Blue, but somehow this season's writers make it feel dull and boring.
One of us is in a good mood.
More boring than anything. Even the guy downstairs.
One goes to check on Raymond. Raymond exposits that it isn't possible up until now for a hollow echo to fully exist. Whatever that means. You know, I will say that the actor for Raymond, one of the writers, isn't doing a terrible job here.
Why'd she do that to us?
For just being the funny man, he's pulling off the sad state the character is in pretty well. At least compared to...
Well, she's kind of an asshole, but I thought she was our asshole. You know what I mean.
I would say, Fiona, you did amazing the whole time. All day, every day. All day, every day.
I was
liar! To be fair, the lines for her are terrible, but she comes across as so awkward.
Come on, we'll never figure it out if we sit around moping about it.
Akin to the likes of Tommy Wiseau.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Or Ruby Rose from Batwoman.
Arrest her and get her help!
To get back to the story aspect of it, I feel absolutely nothing when viewing this scene. When the creators want us to feel like this is their emotional low point, and it's not all pinned to Fiona's terrible delivery. A lot of it comes down to the poor character work and world building as stressed earlier. I don't have any investment in East or the Black Purple Lady to feel anything for the betrayal. Also, I don't understand it either. Was East an actual person? Was she just controlled by Black Purple Lady the whole time? I'm not going to spend too much time on my world building questions because I know they try to explain it a bit later. All I wanted to use this for is another example of why nailing these crucial aspects of writing is very important. Even when you're writing a show you are meant to just sit back and relax to. So now we get the ultimate expo dump. First, we see our gang in front of a door with West on the other side of it, throwing things and talking to himself.
Can you open the door?
And yet again, we are at a scene where I have no fucking clue what I'm supposed to be feeling other than utter embarrassment that I'm even watching this. The sound effects of West throwing and smashing things, coupled with the remarks from the others,
Oh, so this is what handling it well looks like.
make me think we are supposed to be finding this funny. Especially because this is a classic RVB setup.
The door, I said it's a gong. A gong? What the hell is a gong?
However, when you realize the context for West being mad is
I promised her mother. I promised she'd be safe.
it makes me then question the tone the creators are going for. If I were to take a bet, I'd say I'm thinking about this scene way more than the writers did, which is a huge problem in and of itself. West explains that they were a part of a program called Glass, which is basically another version of Project Freelancer, which raises multiple questions about what he means by that because Project Freelancer was a little more than just
Special ops trying to win the war through espionage and science.
they were given an AI to test with, though the way the director ran the experiments was unethical according to the UNSC guidelines. Splitting one AI into multiple by torturing it, it seemed like Freelancer was a one-of-a-kind project, and I doubt the UNSC would ever fund an organization like it again, at least without heavy monitoring. I'm curious how Glass used espionage to help win the war against the Covenant or whatever the aliens were in RVB. West explains that under this organization was when the first Shatter Squad was created, with Zero as the leader, who went by one at the time.
So we recruited the top cadet to train for leadership. His rank was also his code name. 1.
He said I was like him.
Then why is she named 1? She isn't the leader, right? Wouldn't that be West? Or Axel? Wasn't it Axel who had the authority to take over the mission 2 episodes ago while they were waiting for West to recover?
For now, I think it's best we stop pursuing Viper.
What? You're pulling us off the mission? You can't do that!
Just until West recovers.
Also, that would have been another interesting thing to explore. In what ways is 1 like 0? We don't even know her character, let alone to be able to compare her to someone else. I think the writers might agree because that's the last time the idea is brought up.
I just felt like I understood who Agent 1 was. Like, I was just like...
Why would you have her say that if it's literally never going to come up again? This is writing 101. Chekhov's gun.
Next we knew the war ended and ops like ours were being shut down left and right. He felt betrayed. We didn't think he was strong enough. We were wrong.
What does any of this mean?
He was stronger than any of us.
How? How is he stronger? Physically? or just his suit's abilities?
He took my little girl.
Oh no, don't say it like that.
He stops as soon as he sees me.
Why don't you have a seat there and get comfortable for that?
Apparently, East was born with a severe disease. You know, the bad kind.
Why? What's wrong with him?
It's his time. It's running out.
Christ, at least Batman and Robin went through the trouble of actually naming their fake disease. And the rest is what was already explained. East went through an experiment to save her life, and it gave her the power she has, like running fast and creating sentient holograms and a teleporting knife. Then that's it. We cut away, and that's all we get.
It was hard for her, so she left. I guess we know where she went now.
Zero.
God damn it. I guess I have to go on another tangent. This whole thing is riddled with bad writing. Not only for the obvious expo dump, but the way it was done. There's two modes of thought when explaining character backstory. One, you make it super clear, at least the parts that are relevant to our understanding of who they are and how it affects the story. Or two, you are super vague about their backstory, either to have it carry a sense of mystery or leaving it to explore later. Usually when writers do this, they don't have a crucial plot and character moment hinge on it. If the writers were smart, they would have explained in detail what East was dying from, how the experiments could save her, what the experiments even were, and how they gave her powers. Or they leave what happened to her super vague, and all we need to know about what happened is that she got her powers and is pissed at West for what happened, removing the dumb twist of her secretly being Black Purple Lady the whole time. So after all that, we join back up with Zero and the bunch as they use their swords to open the... Wait, what the fuck? Is Purple Yellow Lady, I guess actual East, able to use Tucker's sword? But he's still alive. Wait, is that the reason they killed him? The only way for her to be able to use Tucker's sword would be to have Tucker killed. Like the kind of kill that you can't recover from. Not on the verge of death. You didn't need to bring Tucker into the story just to do this to him. Come to think of it, the bad guys could have just gone anywhere to find the sword. There's several scattered throughout the galaxy, ones that haven't been claimed yet. So then Zero just calls Shatter Squad, bragging, telling them that he's at the final temple and that they should try to stop him.
One last ride?
Oh, get fucked.
Red vs. Blue meets Fast and Furious.
Go! Tony! Tony!
I know how much you guys love hiding behind the RVB meets Fast and Furious idea, but you don't have to be this on the nose about it.
From 0cones at 69.rvb.
Oh, I spoke too soon. One is all excited and starts to run out.
We've got him. Let's go, team.
Okay, the way you said that makes it sound like you guys actually did something. He literally emailed you his location.
Oh, also, he sent an email with his current location.
Raymond and Axel talk about how he's just calling them to
show us up again. I won't give it to him.
And that they've
already lost too much. We're not going to lose you two.
I get it, but guys, he's trying to get the ultimate power or whatever, which sounds like something that could make him an even worse threat. Why not at least try to face him and prevent him from getting it? Or how about this? You tell the military you're a part of and have them send a shit ton of soldiers and tanks with you. I'm sure they'd be willing to if it meant preventing Zero from getting the ultimate power. To convince the rest to join her, one gives a generic speech about coming together.
He's just one man.
One man who kicked all your asses and who also has this bullshit sword thing.
This whole time, I've been told why. What's expected of me. What I'm supposed to become. Not anymore. I'm going to stop Zero. But more importantly, I'm going to save East. But because she's one of us. So tell me, are we quitters? Or are we one badass team?
Bitch, are you for real?
Seriously, this speech couldn't have less weight to it. Usually a speech like this is meant to be a culmination of a character's arc. Because we don't know anything about one or her character, or lack thereof, this speech doesn't carry the weight the writers want. It comes across as cheap, hollow, and borderline parody. Let's compare it to, I don't know, Sarge's speech from season 8. That speech was a bit cheesy and cliche too, and the show was aware of it. What helped it stick the landing was the fact that it was the culmination of Sarge's arc that season. Sarge had learned that his entire military career was a lie. The thing he most valued in his life was proven to be nothing more than a meaningless simulation run across other red and blue bases.
Therefore,
he has a crisis of identity and feels like nothing matters.
Don't you get it yet? Griff was right all along. I'm not in charge anymore. Ah, quit.
But
comes to learn that the people he spent this time with are important enough to save, even if he won't outright call them his friends.
Therefore,
he gives a speech to Griff, Simmons, and Tucker to convince them to save Church and Tex.
It's all coming full circle.
With all that being said, the team buys her speech, for some reason.
Damn if that wasn't one hell of a speech.
You'd think he'd be the person to give the speech, considering it's his daughter Zero has. Whatever. These aren't characters, we've been over this.
Raymond, you finished with those new upgrades?
Ready when you are, boss.
Though I would like to point out that this little scene between Axel and West would be good and meaningful if the show was actually good up until this point. Instead, it's wasted. Oh well.
Let's move. At the top, there should be a vault room. Probably find the ultimate power there.
What was the intel that told you the layout but not where to find it? Oh no, more of these things show up. But this time they're the ice variant of the enemy. But luckily they just... until they reach a mini-boss, which West just...
You had that the whole time?
Yeah, probably would have been helpful against Zero, I think. The action in the show is so confusing. I can't tell how much damage people are taking when being assaulted with weapons, and how powerful those weapons are compared to others. It's good when action makes up 60 to 70% of your season and we can't get invested in it because we don't understand any of the elements involved.
Had a pitch for Red versus Blue to take it over that I thought was so succinct and so great and so fresh, but it's still in the spirit of, I think, the best of Red versus Blue.
It was hell. It was hell. You approved this. You did.
While West distracts the mini-boss with Carolina, Raymond, and One shoot its literal blue balls, which appears to be its weak spot.
Looking like a real squad.
Aw, that's cute. The show thinks it had an arc. Remember when they had that scene where they learned to work as a team beforehand? Then they reach 3, you know, the class of enemies in video games that's like in between a sub-boss and like normal enemies, like a hunter from Halo or something. They run into 3 of those things.
This is getting old.
You're telling me. Then, for some reason, the big blue guy falls from somewhere and crushes one of those things that are the class of enemies like Hunter from Halo. Carolina volunteers to take him on while the rest stop Zero.
There's no time! Cut off Zero. I've got a score to settle with this one.
Why would the guy allow everyone to leave and not try to stop them all? If the show couldn't get more cliched, they do the thing where one member of the group drops out to fight a sub-villain. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with doing tropey things, but I want to make a distinction between a trope and a cliche. A trope, at least for me, is something that happens a lot in stories. The superhero gets the girl in the end. The elder mentor character dies. A lot of the broad plot points of the hero's journey I covered earlier could be seen as tropes. However, whether or not they're cliched is entirely dependent on how well the trope is executed. Again, in my opinion, this isn't official writing advice. Let's take this show for example. This season, at least from what I watched and heard from the creators, seems like they didn't put much thought into the events that happened in their story other than, well, it's in other movies, like Fast and Furious. Usually, you want to take a trope and work it into the narrative of your story to make it feel more organic to what's happening, and not make it feel cliched. Let's go back to the comparison I was making with One's speech at the end of last episode with Sarge's speech from Season 8. They're both doing the emotional speech to rally everyone while they're at their emotional low point trope. Like I went over, Sarge's speech actually works because it makes sense for his character at that moment, based on what has happened to him leading up to that point in the story. He had gone through a character arc. He had experienced a revelation. Get it? The speech one gave came across as very cliched because it was only there because that's something a character will do in other movies to motivate other characters. It comes out of nowhere. It's not a culmination of an arc for one or the team. Everything she's saying is meaningless to us because we've barely scratched the surface of understanding each of the characters individually, let alone the characters' interaction and perspectives of each other. It's hollow. Like Carolina saying,
Looking like a real squad.
There was never any build up to that, or anything in the plot that supports that payoff. Now getting back to this little moment that caused me to go off on another tangent. The idea of each group member peeling off to fight a lower level baddie is not a bad idea inherently. However, there has to be more effort put into the writing other than group shows up at next room, there is a bad guy there, one member of group volunteers to fight them, the others run away to the next room. To make matters worse, the big blue guy just stands there while they talk about it. Then Raymond upgrading Carolina's suit.
Okay, check it. I've upgraded your Screamless sticks.
You think he would have done that beforehand, and not only with Carolina but the rest of the squad, and not wait until they face Zero?
They should have a lot more kick now. Oh, and take these splinter grenades. You've got a better chance against his stasis shield if you focus a lot of energy on a single point.
What the fuck is this, a fucking video game how-to video?
What's up, guys? It's Brownman and Jeff from AchievementHunter.com. And Jeff, we're done with zombies after this video.
Why are you here, freelancer? After I squash you like a bug, I'm going to rip your friends apart.
Hey, Ray. Did you miss me?
Miss you? He met you like a few days ago. So East or FaZe or Yellow Purple Lady shows up and has a standoff with one. That is yet another example of an empty payoff that feels cliched because it has nothing from other episodes backing it. We rarely knew East as a character, let alone the character differences of East and Black Purple Lady. With another competent writer, this concept could be interesting. The only thing I know about East is that she fought with one sometimes.
It was you paying me back for saving your ass at Zephyr Station. You know, if it wasn't for you, I would have beaten her.
If it wasn't for your power, you wouldn't even be here.
So her wanting to kill one isn't as drastic of a change to her character as the writers were hoping.
None of you understand me. You're right. You're right. I was so caught up in being the best. Being number one.
Speaking of relationships coming to a head that have been way underdeveloped and now are going to try and act like they've earned a big payoff, Wes comes in to
handle this myself. I owe her that much.
Everyone has an objection to this, even though they were pretty cool leaving Carolina a moment ago, until...
We're out of time. Axe, Ray, on me.
What the fuck? The body acting on this show, man.
Over, Zero.
Over? Even if Zero didn't stick his sword in the thing, he kicked all your asses before, seemingly without breaking a sweat. Just because you're there now doesn't mean he just gives up. Maybe all that training they did together will...
Why are you doing this?
For power.
He said it! He said it!
Well, at least that is technically a motivation. Now, it's not the best, but at least they wrote something down.
Good for you!
After some pointless, boring, shallow, empty, tensionless fight scenes, we eventually get West and his daughters reaching the end of their fight. When, East? Or was East just the hologram thing? West's daughter goes off on a vague rant about experiments that were done to her. She claims she was tortured.
Tortured. All those years they shocked, they injected, they dissected me like I was nothing.
I mean, usually surgeries and treatments for severe illnesses aren't the most pleasant experiences to begin with. It's hard to know whether she actually went through some inhumane torture or it just felt that way to her. Either way, why is she so pissed at West? You were going to die. This, at least from what we've been vaguely told, was the only option available to him. If West was tricked, then why aren't you mad at the people who tricked the father desperate to save his dying daughter and, you know, actually tortured you? Especially because it seems like he lost his wife and other children before.
After losing your brother and your sister, your mother made me swear to protect you. Your mother She died for you.
I get the show is trying to make this a gray area to get the fans to debate whether or not West was in the right or not. But the little information we've been given overwhelmingly puts West in the right. The last member of his family not to die is dying of a severe disease that this company seemingly is the only solution to. This is unironically the stupid scene from Man of Steel where Papa Kent suggests to Clark that maybe he should have let those kids drown.
What was I supposed to do? Just let them die?
Maybe.
Relax, Man of Steel fans. I know it was just a suggestion, but the point is that it's something that wouldn't be highly debated. What was the alternative? A father just letting his daughter die after losing his other children and wife? So fucking stupid.
You are sick. I did whatever it took to save you.
Don't let up, West. No, I said don't let up. Okay, it's his daughter. Makes sense for him to pull his punches. I'll give him that.
I failed. I failed your mother, but most importantly, I failed you.
No. West, she's not right. You did the best thing given your understanding of the situation. Hashtag West did nothing wrong. Probably won't trend though. Clearly no one gives a shit about this show. Back over to Zero, he slowly walks over to what I assume is the ultimate power, at a nice brisk pace. And our heroes who left 2 of their squad members behind in a hurry to stop him just stand there and make jokes.
Are you okay? Yeah, I think. I didn't know you could do that. When can he do that? Did you know he could do that?
Yes, Raymond. He's done just about everything you've seen him do previously. Zero slowly walks up to a gold unicorn helmet while saying that he's doing this
for all of us. The corrupt don't deserve power. I'll restore it to its rightful place. You'll thank me. The galaxy will thank me.
Really wish we knew exactly what he means by this. Whether it's just an empty statement or something he actually believes.
You have no idea what this is or what it's capable of.
In all fairness, neither do you. Neither do we, the audience. In fact, the writers probably don't even know either, other than it makes him super powerful and gold. Zero touches it and gets teleported to some void, similar to the one from season 13 maybe? Don't ask the writers because I have a feeling they don't know either.
I didn't care. Cheesy.
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
Interesting enough, that's sort of by design though.
Zero says he can prove himself to be more than just a
mere mortal. I am so much more.
And this alien gives him the silly looking gold armor. That's interesting that ancient aliens
or genetically altered humans, whatever, you,
made a suit of armor that knows how to integrate with Spartan armor and human biology in general. Finally, we're at the end. Now to start off on a bit of a nitpick, remember at the very beginning I pointed out that at the start of episode 1, they had both the intro and credits play at the opening? Well, here they don't have the intro and go right into the episode with the credits playing over the opening of the episode. Again, I know this is a nitpick, but why not do this for episode 1? It's not like you can argue the consistency angle with it anymore. So Zero slowly and menacingly walks up to our heroes while they just talk for a bit, and then Raymond upgrades their suits. Again, you think maybe you should have done that before this point, so you can actually stop Zero before this happens?
No! This can't be good.
I know he explains there are some drawbacks.
Doubles their power, but also doubles their energy consumption. Basically, the more you use them, the greater the risk of passing out and falling into a coma. Lovely.
But you think while they were getting their asses kicked by Zero last episode, he would have done this. Carolina continues to fight the big blue guy and finally succeeds.
I'll get you, freelancer!
And heads over to the main fight, which our heroes desperately need because despite their new upgrades, they are still getting their asses kicked. For all the criticisms I'm giving this season, at least they actually make their villain more powerful than the heroes to give them a physical obstacle to overcome, unlike a franchise that costs billions to buy and millions to produce. It's kind of embarrassing that a small little web show knows that writing principle and a professional studio doesn't.
last hit. There's no way he's gonna emerge from that smoke unharmed.
Get it? Because he does. He does come from the smoke. You get it? So one of the reasons I wanted to structure the review like this is because I wanted to take you through each beat of the story so you can fully understand the show and how it sloppily built everything up to this point.
Cheesy.
And unlike the show, I feel like I've properly built up to this point, showing you how all this lack of character development, flimsy world building, and lazy plotting has now amounted to this dull, boring, tensionless fight between our heroes and the bad guy. This is why it's very important to lay the groundwork that leads up to the grand fight scenes. What should be a tense fight that has us on the edge of our seats, rooting for our heroes to succeed, has us sitting, laid back in our chair, looking at the time at the bottom right of our monitor, waiting for it to be over. Speaking of a fight that should have more weight to it, West and his daughter are still fighting. Again, if the groundwork was properly laid beforehand, this fight should be very engaging. A father is fighting with his daughter who's mad at him for a choice any father would make. If their relationship was better explored, if the backstory was well defined, this fight would be meaningful. It's the same wasted potential as the Anakin and Obi-Wan fight at the end of Revenge of the Sith. If the other two movies, and the beginning of Revenge of the Sith 2, better laid the foundation of their relationship
I haven't felt you this tense since we fell into that nest of gumdogs.
on screen, then their fight would have been one of the most memorable fight scenes in cinematic history. The technical aspect of the fight is pretty good. Goes on a bit too long and gets a little over the top, but the technical choreography mixed with well-written character arcs between the two could have made it so much more. Anyway, West blows up the East hologram thing.
What did you do?
I guess the East hologram thing wasn't alive then?
You die today, old man.
You guys were offering me the role, and I was like, you don't want to like take the weekend and Tori.
West says that he's willing to let her kill him.
Your mother, she died for you. So I'm ready to do the same.
She kicks him in the face, knocking him out, then screams really loud and punches the ground a bit. Zero's in the middle of fighting until he's teleported to this place again. The alien thing continues to doubt Zero's abilities, which really pisses off Zero.
It looks like he can't control it.
Let's end this before he can.
Why are you shooting at him? You know this doesn't work. So Zero beats down our heroes and is about to kill them when East teleports in and starts shooting him. For some reason. Wait, why did she switch? Because her dad was going to let her kill him? Because that East hologram thing was the bad part and now that it's blown up, she's good now? I don't know. What did Zero even offer her that she was willing to follow that now she realizes isn't worth it anymore, that she would switch sides? This is what I was talking about in the last episode with things just happening in this because it happens in other shows or movies. There's no actual reason or build up to this moment happening that would make it meaningful. And the worst part, after this is all over, she just hangs around the group like nothing happened. Let's go back to Star Wars again. When Vader turns on the Emperor, it has actual meaning and weight in the story. The movie is about Luke still sensing the good of Anakin Skywalker in Vader and trying to get that part of him out. It all culminates when Vader is presented with the choice to save his son, and because the movie heavily explores the relationship between Luke and Vader prior, when Vader chooses to save Luke, it's all the more meaningful. We knew Anakin had become Darth Vader due to being seduced, or if we count the prequels, tricked, by the dark side and the power it gave him. Because we understood why he chose to follow the Emperor, we also understood why he chose to turn back. Here we get nothing. No reason why she followed Zero, and no reason why she realized that she shouldn't be following him anymore.
Phase?
What?
Oh, I guess she's phased now.
Oh, nothing. It's good to see you. You look great. New armor?
Shut up.
I did a lot better towards the end, and I feel like that just goes into the fact practice makes perfect.
You serious?
Yeah.
So the alien thing keeps reminding Zero that he's running out of time.
It's his time. It's running out.
But why? Why does he have a limited time? What is he even being timed on? Killing Shatter Squad? Taking over the galaxy?
Stop asking questions.
We need to end this. Right here, right now.
No shit, really? Yeah, point your guns at him. That's worked the last several times you fucking tried. So after some more weightless fighting, they seem to have Zero pinned. Somehow. And then this happened.
Suck it, nerd!
Which I guess is meant to be a character payoff?
I'm really invested in a lot of the characters and the relationships you guys have built for them. The characters are really fun and strong, and I really like all of them.
Liar! I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this moment.
Seems like you've reached your limit.
Looks that way.
Oh yeah, the drawback that was mentioned at the start of the episode. Quite convenient that it's taking effect on them now when the action is over.
With all this power.
Good question. You were kicking their asses before you had the ultimate power, and now, because of teamwork, they beat you? The alien thing then takes Zero away or something or whatever, who gives a shit? It's only the defeat of the main villain of the season. They have some playful banter and lame jokes and then fuck off.
You were all using code names? The whole time?
You should have gotten an email about picking one out.
My phone is still dead. No one has a butt I can use to charge it?
Just like that. Not even going to question FaZe or East or Danielle or whatever the fuck.
You can call me Danielle.
Like the people she killed or her motivations, if she'll give Tucker the sword back, if she can, or what happened to West. Speaking of West, is he okay? Are they concerned about him? Are they going to go get him? Are him and Danielle made up?
Stop asking!
Hey, remember that little tease of backstory between Zero and Axel? Guess that's dropped. Who cares? Doesn't matter. It's over. It's finally over.
It's over! It's over! Hey, Skeeter, you hear the news? 1, 2, 8!
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle!
With a pretty telling song to close out the show. So that was Red vs. Blue Zero. Fuck's sake, I'm glad they canceled this storyline and characters. Just let RVB die. Please stop parading around its corpse. I know Red vs. Blue dropped the actual versus part of the show after season 5, but at least it was still about the Reds and Blues. Overall, this season is truly the bottom of the barrel. I haven't watched Family Shatters out of self-respect, but maybe that's worse. I'm not sure. Probably is.
We're kind of in the middle of something.
It's like a Greek tragedy, but for nerds.
Oh, a geek tragedy.
Here to gift you with your doom. Ha, just kidding. I brought hot apple cider and some cheap gift cards.
It's starting to feel like more shenanigans.
Impossible! At my rank, I'm allergic to shenanigans. Now, someone help me out of this damn trash can. Seeing as I'm stuck, you'll probably need to lube up the old glutes. Come on now. Get in the crevices.
But it's like I said at the very beginning. It feels like with every season or new story arc, the show gets worse and worse. And when we think it's hit rock bottom, the next season comes along and shows us that it can sink further.
Whoa, you guys new around here?
No! The chief got eliminated by a sneaky blue!
That's no blue! That's Ninja! It's such an honor. I'm a huge fan of yours on Twitch.
Poor old Yeller is practically decaying at this point. Please, just put the thing down already.